Hello, friends. This week we have the great good pleasure of talking with Michele Muska, who, yay, is here with me in my studio. And you are going to love hearing about how she uses Instagram Live and how she has developed a business model that is whatever comes my way, I'm going to try it and see. I'm Lyric Montgomery Kennard. I'm with you for the Creatives on Camera podcast coming from the Academy for Virtual Teaching, where we work with people like you, artists, crafters, creators, who are using video in some way to reach their audience online. So let's get started and listen right in. Hello, friends. I am here with my good friend, Michele Muska,
Hi.
who we are so lucky right now to have her here actually in my studio. It's kind of a fluke. You'll hear this later on, but there was a big snowstorm in the Northeast. She was here for QuiltCon and kind of got stuck.
Yeah.
But how lucky am I?
How lucky am I? Are you kidding me? Everybody's like, "Oh, can you get a hotel?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm stuck at Lyric's house." Oh, isn't that terrible? But I might be going home tonight. We'll see. If not, I'll be
Yeah.
here for a few days.
We're
So,
hoping.
yeah.
It'll be history by the
Yeah.
time y'all hear this. Michele,
Yes.
I have known you for a long time in the quilt world.
Yeah.
And recently I see you at all the shows working with Oliso, which is an iron company. But why don't you give me a little bit of history about your art, your business? Tell our listeners who you are.
Oh, well, my mom's 95, and she recently told me a story about when she used to, in every morning, like I wouldn't be out of my room, and she'd be like, "Is she still sleeping?" And she'd go in. I was like 4. She'd have already be up making something in my bed, and I've always created. And my parents, it was so wonderful because they always gave me the tools to do that. Even as a teenager, I was allowed to paint on all my walls,
Nice.
whatever I wanted. I did album covers, on my wall, and fluorescent, and had a black light. It was like really.
How cool. How
Yeah.
fun is that?
And I went to started school at Southern Connecticut State University, then switched to UMass Boston because I met my husband at a wild house on Cape Cod. And I have a degree in fine arts, concentrating in painting and photography. And then I went to work for, back then it was really hard to kind of find a job. I did go into working with the elderly, and then I worked for a little bit of time at the Fogg Art Museum at Harvard. And I was just telling the story. I was offered a really wonderful position to be a curator for the print department, which is photography. But I had a baby and we were moving for my husband's job, all that kind of thing. So off I went down to Connecticut, lived near my parents. And then I became the recreation therapist, but the art therapist in geriatrics for like a good 10 years. So I really, really enjoyed it because I was the person that they put the people with that didn't want to go to bingo or, things like that. So I would do poetry and painting and
all the fun things.
Yeah. We would have like, and we had we had an art show and an opening, like a gallery and stuff like that. So then I went to work after that. A friend brought me into Rights, which was the package tape people, Rick Rack, buy his tape. And it was also all the brands, Boy Needle, Easy Quilting. And I became the person that designed all their projects, wrote all the instructions for using home deck decor and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I also did upholstery and slip covering and drapery on the side. I
Multi-craft tool, as so many of us are.
Yeah. I felt in the past that if I didn't make something every day, part of something every day, I felt kind of a failure. It was really something inside me that was very driven to touch something that I was making every single day. And it was kind of a lot of pressure in a way to feel that way,
Yeah.
So that luckily kind of faded away, but I always had a side business. So for quite a long time, when I lived in Boston, when my Devin, my oldest, was a baby, I had a wedding business. So
No pressure there.
I had, it was accessories, and I sold at a couple of very high end stationery stores, and I did hand painted wedding and bat mitzvah invitations. I made guest books. Everything was vintage or hand painted and things like that. So I did that for quite a long time. So I always had like a kind of a little side hustle in a way that was always kind of crafty. Even when my kids were little, my sister-in-law and I, we'd need Christmas money. We'd be like, okay, what could we make? So we'd think of something, and they were really actually pretty kind of cool things, things that we foraged in the forest and made little houses and gnomes and things like that.
Right.
And we pick out a couple craft shows and we go and make our Christmas money. So, but
Always
it was
the
just like
hustle.
always kind of that little hustle. I worked for Simplicity Rights for almost 16 years as the exhibits director, product development.
This is feeling like a whole lot of things to cram into the vessel of one life.
Yeah, is it really? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm kind of like that.
Yeah.
Normally, I
Just do all the things.
I do really like to do all the things. I have this motto, and it's been my motto for probably 25 years, is I never met a craft I didn't like except plastic canvas. And then I met someone that changed my mind.
And then you liked it.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
I didn't really try it, but I respected it after that. You know what I mean? So I met this woman who had the most beautiful silk embroidery silk bracelets. And I was, we were at a craft event, so we were talking about that. And she was like, it's made on plastic canvas. I was like, what? So I was like, okay, yeah. So while I was working for them, I also worked for Joe Packham with Where Women Create.
Yes.
So I curated a lot of artist features. So I would find artists in the.
Is that magazine still going?
It is, but it's owned by somebody else,
right?
And
as has happened to most of the publishing industry.
It's quite a unfortunate history,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't talk about that right now. But Joe and I are still very good friends, and we're working on a little different project right now. But I did a few different things. I wrote a column for their business magazine for a year, and it was about connections, making connections in the business world. And I think that's kind of what I'm mostly known for in a way.
Right. With your finger in all these pies.
Yeah.
That's the perfect setup.
But connections, it doesn't necessarily mean connections for me, although those connections have helped me. It's really my life, I feel like, in my career has been about connecting makers and artists to each other, or businesses or companies that could help them as well.
Right.
It just feels like a really natural thing for me to do. Like, doesn't everybody do that? But not really. So,
it's one of the things I love about the industry that we work in the crafts, soft crafts especially, is that it feels very collaborative.
Yeah.
It's not cutthroat competition, and the collaboration is all about making connections when we go together. Now, you've done so many things, and one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you here is because for years you have done Facebook Lives.
Yeah, they're on Instagram, okay, with my dear friend Leslie Tucker Jennison.
I love her so much.
Yep. And we met on the Quilt Alliance board many years ago, and we became really good friends. And then for the past 6 years now, we've been doing this live. And I have to say, from when we started, it was the August of the first year of the pandemic, so 2020.
That launched a lot of us.
Yeah, of course.
Did you have an Instagram presence before that?
Small. Very small. And I still have a small Instagram presence. It's like under 5,000. It's like maybe close to 5,000. Those numbers used to really matter to me. It doesn't matter to me anymore because I realize it's more about who you're engaging with online and who you're talking to. That's the part that's really important. For my business, though, work, I work for Oliso, it's much more important. The being a larger presence, of course,
Mm-hmm.
because not only connecting with our customers, you also have to make money, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it's a
And
business kind of thing.
I don't monetize my social media or anything like that.
Right. So do you do things for Lisa's brand account as well?
Oh yeah, like I do.
You're the thing?
I'm it. Yeah. So we're very, very small family owned company.
Mm-hmm.
There's 7 of us, including our owner in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have distributors like all for international.
Right.
But I do all the social media. I'm called the director of content and community. I'm the kind of the face of
Mm-hmm.
Oliso, um, which I which I think is really wonderful because I'm older and have white hair. And when I worked at Simplicity, it was kind of ageist in a way,
Yeah.
like I never felt comfortable. I had white hair since I was 30. So I was doing it more for fun. But
Mm-hmm.
as I got older, I felt like I had to hide it.
Mm.
So Lisa's not like that. So it's really
That's
great.
great.
But I also am
Yeah.
part of product development. I'm the person that finds and brings the licensees in. I get to kind of like, they're like, okay, Michelle, who's next? What do you think? So those parts are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Trudging to the shows, setup and breakdown is a little hard, but just this week being at QuiltCon was amazing. And it surprises me that I meet that many more people that are new to me. And I think
Right. You
that's
feel
really
like
lovely.
you've known them all because you've been around
Yeah.
to so many things. But there's always fresh faces.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think teaching is like this for me. The setup, the packing, all of that stuff is just,
Yeah.
is so much. But the minute you get there,
Oh.
it's like, I can't believe this is my job.
Yeah.
This is so
Yeah.
much fun.
Leslie and I have been teaching together at Sisters for about 3 years now.
Oh, nice.
So this summer we have 4 4-day workshops.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're so excited. 2 hand stitching workshops, 2 jelly plate print workshops. One that will focus on fabric, one on paper. And we just, on our little chat, which is still going, we just had 4 teachers on every week to help everybody promote their classes.
Oh, fantastic.
And not that we have a huge reach, but I've had people come up to me at QuiltCon, well, we watch you and Leslie. We're like, you do? We just laugh. But so
It is fun.
how it started, we were like, oh, we really should do something. Let's do it on Instagram. I can't remember who thought of it or whatever. And we decided we'd do like a little quilt along. And so we decided to do Jen Carlton Bailey's little curvlet. Betty Crocker as she's known as her on Instagram and her website. So she has these little templates and it makes a little tiny, like for a drunkard's path.
Okay.
We decided to do the 1.5 inch.
Wow.
Okay. So obviously by hand. And we did it on Monday. We decided to do it Monday afternoon and we called it Little Drunk Monday. Okay. And because it was
fun.
little, yeah.
Yeah.
We even had a mixologist on, and Leslie and I would give gifts to people every week, in the sew along, the quilt along. And like I finished mine, I made a pillow, and that was part of the presents. And Leslie would always have beautiful just whatever, and it was really fun. We had Jen on, and and then I don't know how long we were doing that. It was quite a while because they're so tiny, to make something. And so we were going to stop. And people were like, don't stop. And we were like, really? And so, we're talking very low tech. It's just her and I on live. That's the end of it. We never saved them or anything.
Yeah, so you have your phones.
Yeah, just our phone
something
set
to
up.
hold your phone.
Yep, something to hold your phone.
Just click the buttons and chat.
2 of us. And in the beginning, you could only have 2 people on. Then they went to like 3, then 4. You can have 4 people on. So then we started to have guests, if we were working on something or just someone was doing something we wanted to help promote. So we decided to switch to Thursday, and we called it Tipsy Tea Thursday because we were still doing the drunkard's path.
Love the alliteration.
Yeah.
Right?
And we had a tea magazine that sponsored us,
Oh, that's funny.
and we gave away subscriptions to the tea magazine. My husband's a huge tea person. He doesn't drink coffee. So we had all kinds of different teas. We had a local tea company that, I think it was like Five Guys Tea or something up.
It's so much fun when you bring
Yeah.
mix things up
Yeah.
outside of the industry.
And we were still giving presents, away and things like that. And then we were going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then people said, don't stop, because we were still going through the pandemic. I mean, we were still all, cooped up and not traveling and everything. So we decided, I don't know why we switched to Wednesday. It was a better day, probably. I think it was a better day for me for some reason, whatever was going on. And we just called it Wednesday Afternoon Chats. And then we just started to have a lot of guests. And we've had a lot of fancy people, as we call them, like you.
Fancy people.
Fancy
I'm
people.
Not a fancy person.
Yeah. No,
but it was so much fun.
Yeah, but you're known in our circle and industry. Mm-hmm. I think people look to you for inspiration. And so I think, to me, that's what is silly call fancy people. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
But we have all kinds of people on, and this is when we talk to someone and we ask if they want to come on, and people have asked us to come on, which is really kind of funny. But we said you can talk about your journey, your creative journey. Mm-hmm. You can talk about your new pattern. You can talk about if you have a new book coming out, or you can talk about your hair color. We really don't care. It's just us chatting up and talking about, whatever we feel like.
So what do you think the core benefit for your audience is for you putting this content out there?
It's kind of funny because the benefit is mostly for Leslie and I to see each other every week. But people have told us they find us entertaining. For some reason, they find us entertaining and welcoming. We often, we have guests on that tell their stories that they're interested in, that tell us about techniques. So sometimes we talk about techniques and different things. And we have people that write books, doesn't necessarily authors. That isn't always people that make things, but celebrate people that make things. So I think, and then, we'll say we're going to stop. And, I have a friend, Ingrid, that I met through Quilt Guild. And so she just moved to Idaho, and she was like, don't stop. I look, you're our little friends, we're like this little circle of friends. And, so that's when we started saving them, just save them as a post. We take turns every week. She takes a turn. I take a turn. If I'm traveling for work, I still try to do it, but sometimes I can't. Leslie will sometimes pop on herself, but she goes to the Crow Barn a couple times a year. And so then I usually have a co-host. So most of the time it's Mark Lipinski.
Oh, fun.
So Mark Lipinski, you never know what he's going to come out with, so that's been really kind of fun. And then every holiday, every Christmas, we have a Christmas cocktail party, the three of us. This year, Denise Schmidt came on with us. And so this year, because Mark had been ill, we didn't do it as elaborate, but when we first started, Mark's Polish, I'm Czechoslovakian, so we have a very similar kind of holiday
vibe.
Yeah, like celebration with food and things like that. So the first year, we all had to buy pickled herring.
Oh, dear.
And then we all had to come up with a cocktail that we made, whether it was
to go with pickled herring.
Yeah, non-alcoholic or alcoholic, whatever you prefer. And then I always do a Yankee swap. So I have 3 bags. I had 4 bags this year, and I just forgot to give Leslie's hers. So it's a Yankee swap. Everybody picks the prize, gets to see it, but I never send them out. I never send them to them. It's like a fake Yankee swap. And they really laugh at me. So this
secret's out.
Yeah, this year I was going to send them. So I brought Denise hers, and I had Leslie's, and I forgot to give it to her. So I guess I'm not sending it out. But anyways, I just, I'm not quite sure. I find my friendships with my friends so important. I was just telling you a few minutes ago that I have there's 4 of us. Our kids named us Core 4. We've known each other since we were children, and we're all going to be 70 this year. Since we were 40, we go away every year together. Sometimes we fly across the country to all meet. We're all on the East Coast now again.
That makes it easier.
Yeah. Two of us was in California for a while. So we're all on the East Coast. And sometimes I even make them craft. And they like to craft. Yeah.
So even though, social media has changed so much over the last little while, but you are still using it for community building.
Yes.
And for connection. And you can still use it that way. And your audience has a relationship with you.
Yes.
Like you were saying, people who I listen to, and you're like,
right.
Who are you?
Do?
What?
It's like, oh, really?
It's just us chatting together, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So,
but how do you think it has helped your businesses? I mean, at the Academy, we try to be a little, use it purposefully, bring people to your email list, do these things, but it can also be this beautiful, joyful connection.
Yeah. Well, I do also do hand-stitched jeans for people, custom and things like that. So sometimes I'll talk about that and people will DM me and ask for things, or I make some other fiber art that's happened. I think for Leslie and I, for us personally, it's not really about promoting our businesses. It's our guests have been more about the promotion. Our guests are usually folks that have a business. So in a way, it's almost like what we were saying early, talking before we started earlier, is that, offering people a platform to share what they're doing and get the word out, because we all know it's a crowded world on social media, and if it helps them. So for the last 4 weeks, Leslie and I co-teach together. This is our third year, maybe fourth year at Sisters, a Quilters Affair, and you
were saying you were having the other teachers on.
We had 4 teachers on the last 4 weeks, and then we'll have a few more. Help fill everybody's classes, help Val, make Quilters Affair accessible. I mean, we have a small community, but some people will watch and they'll think, maybe I'll go do that.
I think the point of it is, I mean, you said social media is crowded and creative, but yes, but the world of the audience is abundant. Right. And I have found every single time that collaborating and lifting somebody else's business is always beneficial to everybody.
And including yourself.
Exactly.
Because I also think that people will then come to you and look to you for, who's she talking to? What is she doing? Because we talk about our own work. We do, and we show our own work. We also really talk a lot about health. People have always, it's quite a few years ago, it was a lightning round questioning. I was teaching on Creative Bug, and they're like, we asked this to everybody, what's your favorite tool or notion in your studio? And I was like, my hands. First of all, because I'm a hand stitcher, but think about everything that you do, no matter it's on the machine or everything, it is your hands. And if you do not take care of your hands, your wrists, your elbow, your shoulders, you're not going to be able to work for as long as you might want to. So sometimes we show everybody these exercises. We've had a few people on to help us with that.
I love that you do that. In my handwork classes, we set the timer and do chair yoga and stretches. And we get a little weird with it just to be fun, right? But you take care of this, and it will take care of you.
Yeah, you need to stand up and take a breath, and we do that when we're teaching together too in Sisters. It's like, okay, and Leslie has this really funny thing. I can't remember. It's like we do this crazy yell or something like that too. But I have to say, teaching for me, I don't get to do it a lot. It was such an honor that Val even asked me to teach, because I feel like I'm known more for my corporate world than being an artist. Such an internal struggle for me. I mean, I will still do everything I do, especially through work at Oliso, try to find people to help promote our irons, but it's mostly, especially to help them as well, because people are like, well, they'll come up to me and we'll talk and they'll say, well, I only have 2,000 followers, I only have 1,200 followers. I said, yeah, but look what you do. Look what you make. Your people are talking to you more than someone with a big audience.
Oh, this is so important. We talk about this with emails in the Business Builder and the Academy and so many other places, that your email list is the most essential asset that your business has.
Absolutely.
And it is so much better to have a small group of dedicated and loyal fans than
Right.
thousands of
It's really
kind of
good for your business.
people.
We have a really good open rate on our email.
Nice.
And I feel like it's connected to, I only send one newsletter a month.
You don't overload them.
I mean, maybe I could do two, but I have friends and I do not unsubscribe because they're my friends, but I'm like, not another one. It's like too much.
Right.
So if you're running a business, you want to sell things, and which Oliso does too, but I mean, maybe once a month is not enough. But I also give a lot of educational content. And I link out. I'm not afraid to share or link out from my newsletter because I want people to think about, oh, that's Eliso's newsletter. Maybe I'll open that up to see what Michele put in this month.
Right.
Did she put something interesting in that I don't know about? I do books, nonprofits, designers we love, books we love, blogs we love, and I do newsletters we love. That might be a newsletter that I get that I adore. Like I love Kristen Nichols' newsletter. She's a knitter. She doesn't use our iron, but most quilters knit and crochet, and maybe not the opposite. Most knitters aren't quilters because they can take their stuff on the go.
Right.
But quilters in the past couldn't. But
that's a commitment.
Yeah, but that also has changed because now you have EPP.
Right.
People
English paper piecing.
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
Sorry. Which is one of my favorites, because it's hand stitching. Or you have your, you can take your little bag of embroidery and like one of our classes has the last 3 years was a traveling scroll, but I've turned it into a book, a little traveling book. I mean, you can take that with you. And like I opened it up the other day and I had this beautiful piece of hand-dyed fabric, eco-dyed fabric that one of my students had given me. And I wrote Bath at the top because I was in Bath. Bath. Because I stayed with my friend Ursula in Bath after FOQ, Festival of Quilts in Birmingham last year. And like Leslie says, she'll remember I was in Germany at the show she was in, and she had stitched while she was there. So I don't know.
I've spent countless hours in airports.
Yeah, right.
All the places with the little baggie full of hand stitching, embroidery, beading. Some years that was the only artwork I created.
Yeah,
but you can.
Yeah, but you can do that. And I always come back to thread and cloth since I was little. My first project that I remember making this, I did a lot of collage, paper mache and collage and tempera paint, tissue paper. Yeah. My mom was so great about buying, and we had a little Ben Franklin down the street, that I would ride my little bike to and bring it home in my basket. Nice. And my first project was my like cave-like dress for my troll doll. so I remember those. I found my troll doll and I made a dress that reminiscent of the first dress I made. It was pretty funny. But I think that for Leslie and I, we just crack up that we're still doing it. We're like, oh, I'm sure no one ever watches the whole thing, but you never know, they might, so we save them.
You don't even track your stats?
No, we don't.
You don't care. That's fine. It's absolutely fine not to care.
But I think it would be interesting because I hear people say they watch us and you can't really, it says 10 people, 10 eyes, but then like I'll hear 20 people watched it. So like what I never really, I was like, oh, okay. And it also depends who we have on for a guest.
Right.
We get
who they bring with them.
Yeah. And the people they bring with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Michele, this has been just an absolute delight to hear all the things in your story, all the amazing things you put
my
in
little nuggets
container of your life.
I just got a request yesterday from a friend I'm really excited about because I don't know where it will go, but Roderick Kirchhoff. Do you know Roderick?
Nope.
A historian, wonderful quilt collector.
Ooh.
Yeah, amazing. If you don't, he's done 2 books. Unconventional and unexpected. Yeah, and he has a second edition out. But I made 2 pairs of jeans for him, quilted jeans for him, and one of them he's donating to the International Quilt Museum.
Ooh,
so I have
to get in there.
So I think that's hysterical. So I have to. He sent me a note this morning. Could you please write a little, bio, a little note about it? And I'm like, Okay. But I used to do that kind of stuff when I was in high school. And it's just
Hmm.
so funny that here I am at 70 and I'm doing this. And it's going to a museum. It's kind of fun. How does that happen?
You never know
No,
where life is going to take you.
no, no, you don't. And I
But
always say yes and figure it out after. And that's
that's
what we all kind of need to do,
we do.
for new experiences. And you never know what that is. I did New York Fashion Week last September. I had my flowers and my silk flowers that I mold with fusible webbing on gowns, and they were, cuffs, collars, belts. And I was like, I didn't really have time, but I was like, oh, I can't pass this up. What? Oh, who knows where it will lead? And it might not lead anywhere,
Mhm.
but I got to put them on models and send them down the runway and see my name up on a big thing. It was like, you
I
know what
love
I
the
mean?
business model of just whatever comes
It's
by.
fine,
Let's give it a try.
it's probably not the best to monetize your work, but it's kind of my
It's worked for
personality.
you,
It's
right?
my personality
That's
to
the
it.
thing is there is a business model and a way to exist and work that is individual to every
Hmm.
single creative.
Yeah,
They're all different
yeah.
and they're all valid and they all work.
It's a joy to spend time with you, and thank you for. It's like an honor for you to ask me about what I do, so I really appreciate
Well,
that.
likewise, I've looked
So,
up to you and your work for
oh,
ages.
you.
Ages and
Thank you, thank you.
ages.
So,
So one last question
sure.
that we always ask is, what was the last thing that you made?
The last, oh, I'm working on Kristen from Little House Cottons is the most amazing designer. Have you seen her work?
Probably, but
Oh, it
I see so many things I don't
so
remember the
beautiful, so
names.
amazing. Her stuff is very kind of folklore
Mm-hmm.
like. And we were talking, and she knows I'm a stitcher, and she has I picked the peacock panel, and I am stitching on that, and I brought it with me, and
Oh,
I've been working. She hung it in her booth, and she didn't want to give it back, but I said it is not done. It's gonna be, maybe it'll be done in the
need some
fall for
more.
Houston, but it won't be done. So that's what I'm working on now.
Fun.
So yeah.
So much fun. Well, again, thank you so
Oh,
much
you're
for
so
spending
welcome.
time.
You're so
Where
welcome.
can people find you? What is your Instagram handle?
Okay, it's Michele Muska with Michelle with one L, Michele Muska. I have a little website that shows some of the things I do. I don't always update that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's there too. I don't do TikTok. I
That's
do
okay.
for work, but I do add a lot of my things to Facebook. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll have those links in the show
Thank
notes.
you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, my friend. This
Oh,
is what I never get to do when we're not
when you're
in
not in
person.
person with
Yeah,
others,
I
so
get to
it's kind
see
of
funny
fun.
people.
So great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, friends. Always keep creating. Always put your work out there. Always ask yourself what if and just give it a go. Right? You never know what's going to happen. Thank you.